Hey folks, this is Brian. We just got finished up with our last session of the Chronicles of Kareen. And it kind of sounds like that may be our last session of Chronicles of Kareen. The party, we finished up the fight with the zombies. They finished mapping out the two areas that the Windlord had asked them to double check on within this death temple here. And they found the skulls from a couple of shadow cats and dead bear carcass. But an interesting thing is they found a room that was split in half from a cave in. So there's a chasm cutting this huge room in half. And on this side of the room were tons and tons of bones. And as they're looking around, they see a stone chest off to one side. And as they go to investigate that, spirits start popping up. There were two initially, both human, one female, one male. The females seemed to just freak out and ended up attacking one of the party members. We had spirit combat for that. The party member, after a couple of rounds, went sub-zero on his magic points, so she possessed him and started digging through the bones. While that was going on, the other spirit, a little more coherent, a little more friendly, doing some discussion with the party. Party asked him to intervene with the other spirit, but oh yeah, I can't stop her. But it turns out that all the bones here in this room are all victims of the death cult. And so those spirits are still tied here because there has not been any proper funerary rites or disposal or preparation or that kind of stuff to travel on. And so none of them have prepare corpse. I have them make a couple of cult lore skill rolls. Okay, what's proper funerary? And it turns out, and I didn't realize this first either, that the Orlantha funerary process is cremation. So I knew it was for Hamakti because I looked that up. What's the funerary process for Hamakti? Because I had an NPC Hamakti who got killed on a scenario, and they burn him. And so it made sense to me for that. But I didn't realize the whole, pantheon was that way. But apparently it is. So they get across. Okay, they need to burn their bodies, and the female spirit that took over Anglisi, Anglar, took over Anglar, was looking for her body. And the guy says we need to burn the bodies. And while all this stuff was going on, 4 more spirits come up. One of which is a wood elf, a brown elf. And there was a Lankermai spirit there who connected with Lars, who's a Lankermai follower, and hey, this is what you just need to burn them all. We don't have time or the process or the capability to do proper funeral rites for all these different creatures here. And I reminded them that when they had gone through the barracks room, that there was a cask, a half cake kind of thing of oil there, because the cultists kept their lights running and they had oil for it. So a couple of them go off to get that, come back. By this point, there are 10 spirits total, all floating around, one of which is a dark troll. Most of them are fairly neutral, is kind of what's going on. A couple who were kind of suspicious, and one that was kind of friendly, that kind of thing. So they gathered all the bones together in as big a pile as they could, pour oil all around it and on it, and light it on fire. In fact, they actually asked the Ingrilar possessing spirit if she wanted to ignite it, but she freaked out. No, burn it. So they get the fire going. She releases the body and goes on her way. And they go and check out the chest. It's got some items in there. There's actually a bejeweled statue of Stormbull in there. A couple scrolls. One's a map of the area. Most of everything they've already mapped out. And one was a poem of some kind. and there was a velvet bag that was empty and a small box with a couple of gems in it. I think that was all pretty much was in this stone thing. So they gather all those things up, and by this time there's this roaring bonfire, and they check out the crevasse, and they drop a torch down there. It's about 90 feet, fairly decent, and there's a cavern down there, bunch of rubble in the middle, that kind of thing, and um, they have to wait a couple hours before Angrolar gets a magic point back, so he can become positive and wake up. When he does that, they also try to meditate that for those 2 hours to get some extra points back. Restra is successful on that at least once, and then they pack out all of the armor from the zombies and go to their base camp. And at that point, we did pretty much narration from there on out. And their plan is the next day, okay, do we go back to the temple? Do we head down Baru? Do we go back to Whitewall? Do we turn stuff in? Let the Orlando Temple Windlord know what we've done, give him what he wanted to have information from, that kind of thing. And they kind of decide, yeah, let's go back to the Whitewall and kind of finish that off. They do. They have any encounters on the way. Excuse me. They and we narrate through. Okay, what we're going to do here. What are we planning on next? What's the plan for us as a party? Do we want to just go back home? Because Clearwine should be like 3 days, 2 or 3 days from Whitewall. Because you got the King's Road and then Merchant Roads from there on through. And they take the poem to the Lankermai priest. I don't know if there's a whole temple there. Probably is. But there's at least, a Lightbringer temple there, right? So, and they're interested, they'll buy it. They think it's interesting. It's, it's Thealan script, but it's written, it's not Hortling, it's Vinkatling. So, it's ancient writings. So that's got some interest, and they're willing to pay 80 silver for it. Party decides to just keep it. There's some discussion on, okay, where's the nearest Stormbull temple? Well, the Stormbull temples are out in Prax. Although there is a tribe's not the right word, but there's a conglomeration of Stormbull at Lankermai's footprint, which is not that far from here. In the Stormbull temples, in the Orlandi temple here, there's a Stormbull shrine. That kind of thing. So trying to think, maybe this statue has some kind of significance to somebody here. Should we investigate doing that or not? Another couple of options there. But at the end of the day, they decide just head back to Clearwine. It's dark season. It's going to be winter. It's the beginning of dark season. It's starting to be winter. So maybe let's just go home and just take care of business. Subutai talks about getting a new Shadowcat. There'll be some Shadowcat kittens available at the Wild Hunt. So when is the Wild Hunt? Well, I know it's before. It is the 3 weeks prior to Sacred Time. So that's the end of next season. That kind of thing. And there's some discussion on does somebody else want to run? They want to keep me running, that kind of thing. I enjoy it. I get my game out of all this design stuff because I think it's great. That's what I love doing. And so it almost started to run off a tangent, going, okay, Brian doesn't want to play anymore, or doesn't want to run anymore. He wants to play instead. No, guys, no. I just want to make sure everybody's having a good time. And if my style didn't meet everybody's expectations, then somebody else could try, and we could see how expectations met that style, that kind of thing. But one of their players has GM'd before, but he's not really, biting chomping at the bit for that kind of thing. So I didn't have any ideas or anything right now. So maybe in the future he'd be willing to do that, and I'm fine taking off with what I've got. There's some discussion about, well, do we try to follow Kareen down to Kars or not? And that seemed to be, do we need to follow up on this amulet? What's the deal there? Do we really do that? And it seemed that the party doesn't want to do that, which is fine. That is a lot of stuff I had planned. So it looks like I'm going to end the Chronicles of Kareen, and we'll be beginning a new thread with our next session. Happy gaming.